Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you. You get fairy dust. I get fairy dust. Little friend gets fairy dust. See your little head. There it is. And it's time for a question for Asking a Man's Bitch, except this isn't a question for me. This is a question for work friend from the New York Times, but we're going to deconstruct it because it's fascinating and important. Okay. I recently learned that a good friend, okay, that wasn't in quotes in the question, but it's not a good friend. I can tell you that right now. I recently learned that a good friend has behaved very unprofessionally to a colleague, and she doesn't seem to realize it. She shared a professional victory. Her work nemesis decided to quit. However, my friend's stories about this woman made me certain that it was actually my friend who caused the problems. My friend described staying late to complete tasks that had been assigned to the other woman and submitting them before the other woman had a chance. Scheduling important meetings at times the other woman was not available, setting timelines that she knew the other woman could not meet, deliberately failing to correct mistakes made by the other woman, then pointed out these errors to a supervisor. When I asked my friend why she had undermined this woman, she says, "It's not my fault. I'm competitive and she can't keep up with me." My friend made it clear that she intended to treat her nemesis's future replacement with the same contempt. My friend is smart, competent, and a very competitive woman. I share these qualities, and when we were younger, our competitiveness caused a number of conflicts between us. However, as I've gotten older, I've come to understand that competitiveness is a tool to be wielded very carefully in the professional setting, an advantage in a few contexts, but a liability in many others. Do you have any advice for how to approach this conversation? Okay, for one, why are you having a conversation? Don't have a conversation. Please don't have a conversation with this person. Um, this is not a safe person, and apparently you've been friends since childhood. Don't, I mean, do what you need to do, but there's no, what's the conversation? You've already had the conversation. She said, um, why she had undermined this woman. That's your conversation. And she says, "It's not my fault. I'm competitive and she can't keep up with me." I am forever fascinated with the people, with the words people use to describe their toxic behaviors, to describe their um, cruelty and abuse. Being competitive in the workplace is actually fine. Competitive has nothing to do with being cruel. Competitive has nothing to do with contempt. Competitive has nothing to do with nemesis. There is no nemesis. That's not a thing you have at work. Like, okay, if there's a bitch at work, fine. And if, whatever, we use words sometimes, but let's say I've had a nemesis at work. Okay, that's where I've never had that. I've had assholes at work and I've had, people who were cruel and horrible. This is so dark. Okay, let's talk about some of this stuff. She called having the workplace friend like as a professional victory. This isn't a professional victory. This is a personal victory of winning the cruelty contest. It's disgusting. Why are you focused? It's really like talk about competitiveness. Competitiveness means let me work really hard. Let me set my goals. Let me aim really, really high because I want to compete. I have ambition and I'm going to excel. Okay. Be fucking great then. Be so fucking good they can't ignore your brilliance and excellence. But to uh, poison the well at work is just I actually love like the lady's response to work friend from the New York Times. Wow, your friend sounds like a piece of work, which by mean she sounds pretty awful, manipulative and prone to gaslighting, even abusive. I would fully say that. But I just want us to listen to the words people use to describe things that are not that. Being cruel and abusive and setting people up for failure is not um, is not being competitive. I mean, that's disgusting. That's being cruel and mean and unkind. And this is her pattern. This is how she wins. She gets rid of people, and it's working. And people aren't yet. They either see through her and see her that she's doing this, or they see it and they're willing to ignore it because she's a good employee as far as like producing shit for them and making them money, or they don't see it and she's really good at disguising it. um so um my friend described staying late to go, so the things that she did were intentional cruelty. And it's just terrible. Like, I don't even have the words for it. And it's actually bizarre. It's actually odd. It really is gaslighting. I mean, it's like switching the shoes and making them a half size smaller. It's like it's a lot. And the amount of energy. Um And again, it's not making the company better. She's wasting all this time doing this stuff. I mean, some of it's not wasted, but she could actually be, anyway, you get it. Um, when I asked my friend why she had undermined this woman, it's not my fault, and she can't keep up with me. Yeah, because she doesn't know the game that you're playing, that she didn't realize that she was dealing with a monster. Um, and then my friend made it clear she intended to treat her nemesis's future replacement with the same contempt. So this is her pattern, and the next person is just simply going to walk right into the trap. Um, my friend is smart, competent, and a very competitive woman. I share these qualities. So she's misconnecting competitiveness with this, but this word contempt, I mean, one of the childhood trauma trigger, this poor woman that she was attacking and setting up for failure and, you know, making it impossible for her to excel at work. Contempt is one of the things that creates a lot of childhood trauma in a child from a parent. And just to have contempt, and you can feel, and that woman who's gone, she can feel the contempt, and her new replacement feels the contempt. It's very, very triggering. Um, anyway, it's so uncanny how people can excuse their own really toxic behaviors and make it make sense. Make it make so much sense to this woman that she writes in for support on, I identify as competitive, but this woman is doing things that I would never dream of doing. It literally would not occur to us to do these things, but there are people out there that do this. I mean, this almost feels like psychopathic. Like this feels like, ugh, this feels very, it feels crazy. It feels crazy. Um, I've worked with people often like about workplace dynamics, and I don't, I mean, other than like really being able to spot the stuff that she was doing and bringing it to the supervisor's attention. Um, I mean, I throw all kind of tools at this. It's like if my client might come in and say like, "Hey, this person is scheduling meetings when I'm not available." I would like, "Okay, how can we make you available?" Like at the very last minute, like put in your calendar blanks. I mean, put in your calendar that you're busy during these times, but you're not really. And then when you find out the meeting is, you go. What's the other thing she's doing? Not pointing out mistakes. Okay. Um, in the next meeting, I might say, it's interesting because I asked her to proofread that for me, but she didn't pick up on the mistakes. But now that it's turned in, she is picking up on the mistakes. That's, like just calling out facts. What's the other thing I might do? What does she do? Like the first time she submitted a report before me, like if she stayed late to complete a task that had been assigned to me, I would learn right away that I've got to do my tasks quickly. Like, oh, she totally, because that's like pulling the rug out from under you. And so, I would just like, "Hey, I'm just confused about something. So, I know we're on our team and I just wanted to check in with the manager or whatever. Like, hey, I just wanted to check in. You assigned that to me and I was planning on working on it tomorrow, but I noticed that she did it. Is that something that we do here is do each other's tasks?" And I just want to check in is, when you give me a task like that, like if the urgency is there. But notice that woman didn't get fired. That woman didn't get fired. She left. And she left not because she hated her job. I mean, she obviously hated her job, but this woman was successful because it was like, I'm tired of swimming uphill. I am tired. And for me, like, even though I might use all those tools to like unhook from this person, I might, it might be just too exhausting and not worth it for me. Like just the feeling of contempt for me in the office is enough for me. Like this isn't a pool I want to swim in. So anyway, again, the point is really pay attention to the language that these people use because it's inaccurate. It's like this woman wasn't competitive. I mean, she might be competitive, but what she's doing is outside of the norm and very, I guess there's businesses where you have to be cutthroat and literally sabotage coworkers. Again, I don't know. I'm not familiar with those, things. I just don't do, because I just wouldn't be in those places. But I'm guessing that's part of it. And if you're up for that, and if you can take it, and if you cannot get triggered and it won't cost you, do it. But oof, this is some scary, scary shit. This reminds me of what's the name of the show? Oh my God, I forget the name of the show. Um, the Succession. Okay. We do all kinds of things to help us remember. Anyway, like this is Succession shit. Like this is beyond the pale. This is Wolf of Wall Street shit. Like no thanks. Anyway, hope that's helpful. Love you. Bye.